I saw something disturbing recently. This was while I was traveling in Europe, and this came up, and I don't know why. I don't even know if it made me mad. I'm not somebody that necessarily gets worked up and gets all hot and bothered by this sort of thing, but it's one of those things that bothered me, right? Because it became something that kind of dominated my timeline, right? It became something that for a couple of days it was all everybody was talking about, and it's stupid. And I don't care about it, and I don't know why other people care about it. Not only is it stupid, and I don't know why people care about it, it also is, I think, yeah, it's just disturbing. It's weird. I think the right word to use in this situation is weird, because everybody knows that the only footballing couple that we are all supposed to care about, right, that we are all supposed to keep up with, are the Icardis. They're fair game because they are absolutely insane. If you've never caught up with the Wanda and Mauro Icardi stuff, you're missing out, because all of the nonsense that they were taking part in is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, like literally completely absurd. And they make it public, and you're stealing a wife from a teammate and all this kind of nonsense, right? It's very, very public and in the public eye. But the vast majority of the time, all of this football relationship hunting is weird. But there's something that takes this to a level that is even weirder. What if we're talking about people that are legitimately below the age of consent in a lot of countries? Like people that are legitimate children, legally, that are children, right? That is what takes this to a completely different, weird level for me. Because I'm talking about Lamine Yamal. And if you already know about this situation, then you are in my boat over, the last week or two, where this sort of news story broke around, the news story, right, broke around Lamine Yamal. This just weird, uncomfortable news story, right, that had to do with Lamine Yamal and his girlfriend. Which, if I'm sitting over here, Lamine Yamal just turned 17 years old. Just turned 17 years old. He's like in high school, age-wise. Now, I realize that he is Spain's best right winger. I realize that he is going to be one of the best footballers in the world, if not already one of the best footballers in the world, the most exciting prospect, Goal.com's number one wonder kid, even ahead of Endrick, even though Endrick is, the best player since the 1924 Uruguay team. And, it's a joke. Yeah. It makes sense if you're as terminally online as I am. But Lamine Yamal has a lot of things going for him, a lot of great things going for him. And then all of a sudden, this story comes out where his girlfriend, cheated on him in the most high school way ever, right? It's this 5-second video, which I'm not even going to bother playing you, right? Where it's somebody live on TikTok, which, look, if you're already live on TikTok in a serious way, then you're too young for us to be having this conversation, right? Like if you were involved in some sort of breaking news on a TikTok live, then we really don't need to be tracking the dating ins and outs. But the TikTok live basically pans over, and Lamine Yamal's girlfriend, who is apparently they'd just been publicly announced, which even that concept is just wild to me, considering this kid just turned 17. I'm assuming she's in the same age category, right? Like at the end of the Euros, it had just become public knowledge that they were dating in the first place. And in this 5-second video, she's sitting on another dude's lap, which I'm going to be entirely honest is the most high school drama I've ever heard of. I mean, how could you not be watching Zoe 101 or iCarly or one of these other high school drama sorts of TV shows and somebody sat on somebody else's lap, and that is the big news on the school block here, right? Oh, Lamine's girlfriend was sitting on Todd's lap. Oh my God, but the problem is this isn't a normal high school situation. Right. The problem is this is Lamine Yamal and his newly publicly announced girlfriend sitting on another dude's lap. So all of the chuds that want to chime in about this entire situation, right? All of the incredibly weird people that never leave their basement, that have absolutely no idea how to handle a situation like this in real life because they've never talked to a real life girl before. Hentai doesn't count. Right, all of those people decide to chime in with the fact that, Lamine Yamal's been screwed. I mean, it was just weird. You know how all of this works. The huge response to this was just weird. And I felt really bad for Lamine Yamal, right? Because look, when I was in high school, I was not very well emotionally equipped to be able to handle a situation like the girl I'm dating sitting in Todd's lap, right? You know, that intense kind of high school drama. There's a reason that everybody looks back at those years and is like, wow, I wasn't processing information the way that I would hope to be able to process it in the future, right? Like you got a lot going on emotionally in that period. You're just starting to date for the first time and all this crazy stuff is going on, right? And to have to, it's one thing to just have to survive that, right? It's one thing to just have to live and make it through high school. It's another it's another thing entirely to have to deal with this shit. Okay, because this is not the only one of these that I saw. I don't mean to call out this person specifically. But after this breaks, we're not just talking about people that are unsatisfied with their own life or have got nothing better to do than to pick into the romantic life of a guy that just turned 17. We've got people making entire threads. And I'm not joking. Are you seeing this? And this got a significant amount of views. Somehow it ends on Margot Robbie. What? Like, oh, it's another thread. Okay. Wow. So you're just really vacuuming up those $10 Elon Musk wants to pay you. Fair enough. But I mean, people taking your picture from the celebration of the European Championship and going like more happy and less happy. No matter how successful you are, girls will cheat on you. Lamine Yamal's girlfriend cheated on him after winning the Euro. Like, can you imagine being in high school, being in this type of situation, being in, I don't know, Lamine Yamal's life. And I don't fucking care, by the way, but being in like maybe your first relationship or whatever, and then having this kind of minor high school drama just explode. And not only are you dealing with it in a minor high school drama sort of way, you've got a huge portion of the internet dissecting every piece of public information that they have available, like about you, and then just applying their preconceived view of the world onto it. And we always pretend, right, that players like Lamine Yamal don't see shit like this, but they do. If you ever have the opportunity to talk to players that end up that end up being at this level of fame or something like this, if you ever have the opportunity to talk to people that end up in the public eye to this amount, they see this stuff. I mean, sure, they might not have seen this one specifically, but this sort of stuff that's being created, right? This timeline of like just this really weird narrative, this incredibly uncomfortable amount of and he took his girlfriend on a vacation to Greece, and here's another photo from behind, and everywhere this kid goes, even though he just turned 17 years old, people are taking videos of him. Right? People are trying to find out his business. I'm sure you've got, paparazzi photographers hanging out of trees to try and get some new piece of information. Can you imagine going through that period of your life and having to deal with that amount of pressure? It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle that that any player at all that becomes really famous at a super young age like Lamine Yamal can ever be somewhat normal, ever. They should all be so irreparably messed up from having to deal with this amount of attention for this amount of time that I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine where you'd start trying to be able to deal with this. I mean, listen, however, due to Lamine's notoriety, he easily found a hotter, slimmer girl in less than 24 hours. Shut up. Get a job, get a life, fucking leave the kid alone. I mean, great. How is this something that people are interested in as a society? If you are legitimately interested in what Lamine Yamal is doing in his dating life, seek help. I don't know what to tell. This is not anywhere close to important. It's not. We're talking about children here, which makes it more and more and more and more and more uncomfortable. But who gives a shit, right? Oh my God. These posts get to the point of low and boring sexuality level. They're trying to diagnose why Lamine Yamal's girlfriend was sitting in Todd's lap in that one video. I mean, check their hard drive at this point. This is just psychotic behavior. This thread alone Like, I wasn't going after this person initially, but that's because I hadn't even read the entire thread, because I like not rotting my brain. If I have the option, I would like to choose to be able to maintain as many brain cells as possible. This thread alone should require a mandatory hard drive check when crossing any border. He chased her. He pedestalized her. Hey, look. All right. You're okay. You obvious dude behind a fake picture of a girl account. Okay. Listen. Shut the fuck up. All right. All of this, you were talking about a 17-year-old, dude. And most importantly, now, I mean, not more importantly or most importantly compared to the fact that we are talking about children, you don't know shit about their relationship. You will never know shit about their relationship, because why the hell would anyone, including a 17-year-old, tell you anything relevant about the relationship? Like, all you know is what you're going to glean from a TikTok live and 8 weird pictures of just incredibly strange people that decided to record Lamine Yamal with a girl in Greece. This whole thing makes me uncomfortable. Honestly, debated even talking about it in the first place because I don't want to amplify it anymore. But what I really want to do is amplify how weird this is, to try and see if I can shine a light on how weird it is so more people will stop doing it. Yeah, but I saw this when I was traveling, and I could not believe that there were this many tweets and memes and anything about a high school relationship. It's a high school, sure, it's not a normal one because the guy plays for Spain and Barcelona, but it is a high school relationship. I don't care how good you are at football. That doesn't change the fact that you're fucking 17 and a child. Why? Why?